Hello, and welcome to Enterprise Vault 11X for Exchange Administration. My name is Norman Duhart, and I will be your instructor for this course. My name and email address are here on the screen. I'd like to begin by telling you a little bit about myself and my background. I've been in the computer business for about 20 years in different capacities. I've taught many different subjects, including Windows, storage, A+, Exchange, and networking. I also have hands-on experience in the real world working with many of the technologies I've taught. The format we are going to follow is I will lecture in the mornings and we'll do labs in the afternoons. This is an administration course, and all the labs have been pre-configured so you will not have to do any setup, and the labs can be done out of sequence. The lab scenario is as if you inherited a fully functional Enterprise Vault installation and you will be responsible for administering it. This is a 5-day course consisting of 22 lessons plus labs. Lesson 1 is an introduction to Enterprise Vault, and we're going to look at how Enterprise Vault works. We're also going to discuss the tools that you use to administer Enterprise Vault. We examine Enterprise Vault's roles-based access permissions model and managing the security for server objects. The last thing we look at in Lesson 1 is Enterprise Vault's main administrative tool, the Enterprise Vault Administration Console. In Lesson 2, we take a closer look at the components that make up Enterprise Vault and how they interact with each other. We're going to have a first look at SQL Server, provisioning groups, policies, sites, and targets, as well as examine some of the tools used to monitor the health of Enterprise Vault. Lesson 3 is an introduction to storage and is mainly concerned with the changes and new features in EV11. This lesson gives us an overview of the storage architecture and the different processes involved in archiving data, as well as a discussion of single-instance storage. Single-instance storage is how data deduplication is implemented in Enterprise Vault. Lesson 11 will give us a more complete view of storage. Lesson 4 examines Enterprise Vault's targets. Targets are the frontline servers that provide the items that will be archived. Targets can be Exchange servers, Domino servers, file servers, SharePoint servers, or SMTP targets. In this course, we will be concerned with Exchange server targets. Lesson 5 is all about archiving by using mailbox policies and provisioning groups. In Lesson 5, we discuss viewing, modifying, and creating mailbox policies, and modifying, assigning, and processing provisioning groups in order to archive user mailboxes and control the configuration of the archive. Lesson 6 deals with user settings. User settings are managed through desktop policies and allow administrators to control user access to archives and configuration of the client interface, toolbar, and menu options. There are also options for configuring Outlook, OWA, Vault Cache, and Virtual Vault. Lessons 7, 8, and 9 all deal with client access. Enterprise Vault supplies client access to archives from multiple user clients, including Outlook and Citrix Thin clients using the Outlook add-in. There are options for offline access using Vault Cache and Virtual Vault for integration of the user's archive into Outlook navigation. There is also an installer application supplied on the Enterprise Vault Media to enable support for Mac OS X. Office Mail app and IMAP clients are also supported. Lesson 10 is about managing and monitoring journal archiving. We'll outline the requirements and processes for journal archiving, monitoring journal archiving using reports and other monitoring tools, and viewing and modifying journal archiving settings. In Lesson 11, we learn how to expand the storage configuration by adding and configuring additional Vault Store groups and Vault Stores. We examine adding and configuring Vault Store partitions and look at how to modify storage sharing levels for the existing environment and moving partitions in the storage queue. Lesson 12 is all about configuring retention and expiry, and we'll also discuss collection and migration. With retention and expiry, archived items can be automatically deleted after a configurable period of time. Collection and migration involves packaging smaller archived files into larger cabinet files to improve backup times and to move older, less frequently accessed data to secondary offline storage. Lesson 13 discusses indexing. In Enterprise Vault, indexing is used to support searches. In this lesson, we look at monitoring and maintaining indexes and how to enable Enterprise Vault search and fast browsing for users. Lessons 14 and 15 are all about maintaining Enterprise Vault servers. Here we discuss monitoring server health, server tasks and services, and monitoring and maintaining Microsoft message queues. The last thing we discuss is maintaining the SQL databases. Lessons 16 and 17 center around personal store files. In Lesson 16, we review the PST migration processes and the importance of migrating PST files. Then we look at the tools for PST migration and configuring policy settings. In Lesson 17, we discuss migration methods, client-driven migration and server-driven migration. Lesson 18 is about archiving. In Lesson 18, we learn some common tasks for managing user archives, how to manage archive permissions, how to migrate and move archives, and finally how to configure user deletion and perform user item recovery. Lesson 19 is a discussion about changes to Enterprise Vault, and the discussion involves managing, monitoring, and reporting, upgrading Enterprise Vault servers to Enterprise Vault 11X, and expanding the Enterprise Vault environment for multiple servers and Enterprise Vault extensions. In Lesson 20, we're going to discuss basic troubleshooting in an Enterprise Vault environment. We'll learn about troubleshooting by using Enterprise Vault server tools, client tools, and by working with Symantec technical support to log and track an issue. The main objective of Lesson 21 is to understand the main components requiring backup, how to use backup mode, and what happens at the end of a backup. The objective of Lesson 22 is to understand basic disaster planning and using Enterprise Vault building blocks for high availability. Building blocks is Enterprise Vault's built-in availability solution. This is Lesson 1, and we're going to examine how Enterprise Vault works. We're going to look at Enterprise Vault archiving functions. We're going to look at some of the management tools such as Enterprise Vault Administration Console and Deployment Scanner. We're also going to discuss security using roles-based access control and administrative permissions. And the last thing we're going to do is take a closer look at navigating the administration console and how to access online help. So first off, how does Enterprise Vault work? Enterprise Vault is a Windows application that enables an organization to store messaging and file system data automatically in centrally held archives. Using the Vault, clients can retrieve selected items easily and quickly whenever required. The Vault can archive items in Microsoft Exchange user mailboxes and journal mailboxes, as well as Microsoft Exchange public folders. Enterprise Vault can also archive items in Domino mail files and Domino journal databases, as well as files held on network file servers, Microsoft SharePoint servers, instant messages, Bloomberg messages, and SMTP messages from other messaging servers. At scheduled times, archiving processes check target servers for items to archive, and relevant items are then stored in Enterprise Vault archives. Here we're going to look at archiving an item with Enterprise Vault. Here we are in an Outlook client, and these are your email messages. You'll notice this message has a different icon because the message has been archived and replaced by a shortcut that is smaller than the original message. Shortcut configuration and behaviors are controlled by desktop policies. When you double-click the message, it opens in Outlook, but the actual message remains in the archive. The Enterprise Vault Outlook add-in adds an additional ribbon menu for Enterprise Vault functions, and the available buttons are controlled through desktop policies. Here we have Search Vaults, which opens a web interface that allows users to search their archive. Store, which allows users to manually archive items. Restore, which recalls items from the Vault and restores them to Outlook as well as Exchange. A delete button if users have deletion privileges, and a help button so that users can get additional information on Enterprise Vault. To archive an item, you can select the item and click on the Store button, and the item will be archived. The message icon will change to a pending icon, and after Enterprise Vault is backed up, it will change to a fully archived icon. For the majority of Enterprise Vault administration, you use the Enterprise Vault Administration Console, which is a Microsoft Management Console. The Vault Administration Console is used for configuring and managing services, indexes and archives, and tasks in all the various entities in an Enterprise Vault implementation. Using the options in the console, you define the functionality that is to be available to users in the various client interfaces. For some management tasks, you can use Enterprise Vault's PowerShell commandlets, and for a complete list of the available commandlets, you can view the PowerShell commandlets guide. Before you install or upgrade Enterprise Vault, you should run the deployment scanner to report on the configuration of the computer. The deployment scanner is a prerequisite scanner that reviews the configuration of a computer and reports on any issues that may prevent Enterprise Vault from being installed. It will also notify you of any configurations that may not conform to best practices. The scanner can also be used to gather information for support cases. The deployment scanner is automatically installed in the Enterprise Vault program folder and can be installed separately using an installation package available on the Enterprise Vault installation media. The scanner can also be run from within the Vault Administration Console. Enterprise Vault Reporting provides enterprise-level reporting using Microsoft SQL Server reporting services. It is an optionally installable feature that provides remote browser-based reporting on the status of Enterprise Vault servers, archives, and archived items. You manage report content and view reports using the SQL Server Reporting Services Report Manager web application. The Enterprise Vault Monitoring Database is a SQL database that holds monitoring data for use by the Enterprise Vault reporting components. Here's a slide of the administration console, but I'm going to go to the server and open that. I'm going to use this shortcut to open the Enterprise Vault Administration Console, and from here you can manage your Enterprise Vault environment. As you can see, this installation is not licensed. Under the site icon, you can see all the different containers for this site. One of the core Enterprise Vault components is the Enterprise Vault Server component, which runs services and tasks for performing the main archiving, indexing, storing, and restoring functions. With the exception of the directory service and admin service, the Enterprise Vault services are listed and configured in the Enterprise Vault Administration Console. The indexing service manages the indexes of archived data to enable users to search for archive items that they want to retrieve or review. There are two levels of indexing, brief and full. With brief indexing, only information about the item, such as the subject and author, can be searched. With full indexing, you can also search the content of each item, including phrase searches. When a user chooses to restore items through the browser-based facilities for browsing and searching archives, the shopping service manages the process. With Exchange Server Archives, the selected items are placed in containers that are called shopping baskets, and the shopping service is responsible for managing these shopping baskets and instructs the retrieval process to retrieve the contents of the shopping baskets from storage. With Domino Archives, the shopping service still manages the restoring of selected items, but there are no shopping baskets. The storage service manages the vault stores and archives on the computer where it is running and accepts items for archiving from the archiving tasks. If possible, it then generates a text or HTML version of each item, which the indexing service uses to compile indexing data for the item. The storage service then compresses and stores the items and the text or HTML versions in the appropriate archives. Enterprise Vault archiving tasks are controlled by the Task Controller service. If a task is configured as automatic, it will start when the Task Controller service is started. I'm going to open the Windows Services Management Console so you can see the Enterprise Vault services there. I'm going to expand this. Here you can see the Enterprise Vault services. You'll notice here we have the Vault Admin service and the Vault Directory service, as well as the Index service, the Shopping service, the Storage service, and the Task Controller service. The Directory service accesses the Enterprise Vault directory, and the other Enterprise Vault services and tasks use the Directory service to access the configuration information in the directory database. The directory service uses Microsoft SQL Server to access the configuration information in the directory database. The admin service controls Enterprise Vault and monitors service and task activity as well as local disks used by Enterprise Vault. It has two main functions. It installs new Enterprise Vault license keys and provides a general monitoring service that runs automatically whenever any other Enterprise Vault task or service starts. It is installed automatically when you install any of the other Vault services. You can use the administration console to perform the basic administration tasks outlined in this slide and the next. Targets are the frontline servers that contain the items to be archived. Targets can be Exchange servers, Domino servers, file servers, SharePoint servers, or SMTP targets. Maintenance tasks can include scheduling and configuring archiving, selecting the types of messages to be archived from the targets, and selecting a default vault store for archives. Maintenance tasks can also include upgrading to a new version of Exchange, migrating mailboxes to a new Exchange server, or implementing a change in the Exchange topology, such as configuring failover using database availability groups. When maintaining Enterprise Vault storage, you may be called upon to expand the storage configuration by adding and configuring additional Vault Store groups and Vault Stores, or adding and configuring Vault Store partitions. You might also need to modify storage sharing levels for the existing environment, or move partitions and the storage queue. Enterprise Vault indexes items when they are stored. This enables users to perform searches on archives for specific items. Administrative tasks associated with managing indexing and search include using index monitors, using indexing tools to maintain indexes, and enabling Enterprise Vault search. Index maintenance may also involve reorganizing or rebuilding the indexes on the most heavily used tables. Monitoring and maintaining the Enterprise Vault servers involves monitoring Enterprise Vault server health, tasks and services, and maintaining task schedules and settings. You will also be monitoring and maintaining Microsoft message queues and SQL databases. When you manage archives and settings, you can view the archive reports and policy assignments. You can create and modify mailbox policies to define what is archived from Exchange target mailboxes, and you can configure desktop policies to control user settings. You can use desktop policies to control user access to their archives. Users can access their archives by using Enterprise Vault clients. There are several different clients, including the Outlook client, the Office Mail app, Outlook Web Access or OWA, and IMAP. Users can also gain access with Vault Cache and Virtual Vault, as well as a Mac client. Backing up is something that must be done on an ongoing basis in order to ensure the integrity of your environment. You will set up backup mode on your Vault stores and index locations while you take backups. You will also need regular backups of all your SQL databases. For high availability, you need to understand basic disaster planning and using Enterprise Vault building blocks. PST files can easily grow to consume massive amounts of space, as well as presenting challenges relating to nightly backups, difficulty in searching for compliance and/or discovery purposes, propensity for data corruption with limited recovery, and a lack of centralized management. Enterprise Vault has tools that can be used to manage and migrate PST files. PST migrations can be either client-driven or server-driven. Everything breaks, so at some point the environment will need to be troubleshot. Windows Event Viewer is always a good place to start, but Enterprise Vault server tools such as dtrace and backtrace can aid you as well. The dtrace utility logs the activities of a process at the code level, and so provides a way to run Enterprise Vault in debug mode. Backtrace enables you to obtain log files of tracing information from Enterprise Vault processes and provides tracing from the period before a problem occurs. EVSVR is a command line utility with which you can report on, verify, and repair Enterprise Vault storage. These tools can aid you with some basic troubleshooting. There are also Enterprise Vault client tools and IIS log files that can help you to resolve issues. and the deployment scanner can be used to gather information when working with Symantec technical support. Monitoring and reporting gives you a view into the status and health of your Enterprise Vault environment. And with this information, you can evaluate the need for changes. Changes might include upgrading Enterprise Vault servers to Enterprise Vault 11x, or expanding the Enterprise Vault environment for multiple servers and Enterprise Vault extensions. Enterprise Vault extensions are solutions provided by Symantec technology-enabled partners that support storing, managing, and discovering additional content. There are many extension content sources available from the Symantec partner community, and partners continue to add new content sources and functionality. We're going to discuss all of these tasks in the coming lessons. Additional tools you may need are SQL Server Management Studio to maintain the databases. Maintenance must be done on the SQL Server, as Enterprise Vault manages the databases but does not perform maintenance. You use SQL Server Management Studio to configure and run SQL maintenance. We discussed that in Lesson 15. As the Enterprise Vault environment grows, it may become necessary to roll over certain databases to remain within the available storage capacity and to maintain performance levels. You may use SQL Server Management Studio to maintain all the Enterprise Vault databases, including the Enterprise Vault directory, which holds all the configuration information, your Vault Store and Vault Store Group databases, and reporting databases. If you have Microsoft System Center Operations Manager, you can use the supplied Enterprise Vault Management Pack to monitor Enterprise Vault operations and performance and critical Enterprise Vault events and alerts. The Management Pack defines rules that enable System Center Operations Manager to monitor Enterprise Vault components and events in the application event log on Enterprise Vault servers. You can review the administration guide for additional information on integrating System Center Operations Manager in your environment. Many of Enterprise Vault's PowerShell commandlets are available as part of the Enterprise Vault Management Shell. When you run the Enterprise Vault Management Shell, it loads the Enterprise Vault snap-in, which makes the Enterprise Vault's PowerShell commandlets available in addition to PowerShell's native commandlets. There are PowerShell commandlets for working with databases, archives, IMAP, services, and tasks, as well as many other Enterprise Vault services and features. There is also a PowerShell guide that provides usage information for all the Enterprise Vault 11 PowerShell commandlets. Enterprise Vault reporting functionality is based on Microsoft's SQL Server reporting services and generates reports on Vault operations, including journal and mailbox archiving performance and Vault storage usage. A number of standard reports can be used to spot performance issues by identifying system trends, showing system throughput and performance bottlenecks, and providing a picture of system health. You access the Enterprise Vault reports from the Microsoft SQL Server Reporting Services Report Manager web application. The IIS Management Console is used to manage your web servers. Enterprise Vault is heavily web-based. When users click on a shortcut to recall an item, the request call an ASP script on your web server, such as download ASP. Enterprise Vault is a Windows application, and in a Windows environment, the first place to look when you have an issue is Event Viewer. The first log you want to look at is the application log. I'll switch back to the server and show you this. I'll go to Server Manager, Diagnostics, and Event Viewer. The three logs you're going to be concerned with for the most part: the application log. The application log is used for events that are deemed to be critical. It includes Enterprise Vault events that show which components have started or stopped, and events that require you to take some corrective action. When Enterprise Vault logs an event from the integrated monitoring, it also shows the event in the status pane in the administration console. The second log you want to be concerned with is the Symantec Enterprise Vault log. This log is used for all events that are not deemed to be critical. It contains all Enterprise Vault events except for those from document conversion or from the Veritas Enterprise Vault crypto module. Events that are placed in the application log also appear in here. The Semantic Enterprise Vault Converters log contains events arising from document conversions. Documents are converted for indexing purposes. In this next section, we discuss Enterprise Vault security using roles-based administration and object permissions. The most important Enterprise Vault account is the Vault Service account. It is similar to the root account in a Unix environment, and just like the root account, you do not want to use it for everyday access. For everyday administrative access, you can use predefined administrative roles or create custom roles. The Vault Service account is the only account that can administer roles. Before you install Enterprise Vault, you must set up the Vault Service account and give it suitable permissions. Enterprise Vault automatically grants the account the advanced user right, log on as a service, debug programs, and replace a process level token. The VSA must be used to run the Enterprise Vault configuration wizard when you are setting up Enterprise Vault, and Enterprise Vault services and tasks use the service account when accessing Enterprise Vault databases. The Vault Service account must also be a member of the local administrators group on each Enterprise Vault computer. It is used by Enterprise Vault processes to access the Windows Server operating system and is shared by all the Enterprise Vault computers in the Enterprise Vault directory. If you are managing multiple Enterprise Vault sites, you can use the same Vault Service account for more than one site. In Exchange Server archiving, the Vault Service account is used by Enterprise Vault tasks when connecting to the Microsoft Exchange Server and has full access to mailboxes, including read, write, send as, and delete privileges. If you must change the service account password, do not use the Windows Services Management Console. If you have multiple EV servers in your environment, the changes may not be replicated to all servers, and services may start on some servers but not others. The changes must also be stored in the configuration database. To change the password, in the administration console, go to the properties of the directory and make your changes there. I'll show you this in the administration console. So in the administration console, right-click the directory node, go to Properties, Service Account, and this is where you'll want to make your changes. Note these two paragraphs here. All Enterprise Vault services must use a Windows domain account to log on. Enter the name and password of the account that Vault services in this directory must use. To change the password only, press Ctrl plus Alt plus Delete and choose the option to change the password. Then change the password on this page. When you change the password here, it will update the configuration database, and if you have multiple Enterprise Vault servers, it will be replicated to all of them. You will need to restart all Enterprise Vault services on all Enterprise Vault servers in the site. Because of the amount of work involved and the potential for introducing mistakes that take time to rectify, it is recommended not to change the account name if possible. I'm going to go to the Services snap-in. And here you have the directory service. If you right-click and go to Properties, under Logon, here you see the Vault Service account. If you change the password here and you have multiple Enterprise Vault servers, the password will not replicate to all servers. You can see all of the services are running under the Enterprise Vault Service account. Enterprise Vault uses a roles-based administrative security model and ships with several predefined administrative roles. Users are associated with a role and have only those permissions that are granted to that particular role. I'm going to go to the server again and show you that in the Authorization Manager. To get to the Authorization Manager, right-click the Directory node, Authorization Manager, and here you can see the predefined administrative roles that come with Enterprise Vault. File Server Administrator, Messaging Administrator, Power Administrator, Exchange Administrator, etc. I'll show you some definitions of those in the Administrator Guide in a few minutes. These predefined administration roles are associated with operations and tasks that assigned administrators are allowed to execute. An operation is a low-level permission that represents a privileged action or capability. A task is a group of operations that collectively provide sufficient permissions to do a job. And a role is a collection of tasks and possibly operations and other roles. If I click the plus sign on Definitions, go to Task Definitions, and select the task, and double-click it and go to Definitions, this shows all of the operations that go together to create this task. If I go to Role Definitions, select the role in the Definition tab, these are the different tasks that go to make up this role. This role also has the permissions of two other roles as well, the IMAP Administrator and the Search Administrator. So tasks are built from one or more operations, and roles are built from one or more tasks. In order to grant a user the Exchange Administrator role, I'll go to the Domain Controller and create a group. I'll call the group Exchange Admins, and then I will add a user to the group. So I have created a group and added a user, and now we'll go back to the Enterprise Vault server, and I will add the group to the role. Right-click, Assign Users and Groups from Windows Active Directory. Under Advanced, I'll find the group, and add the group to the role. Now if I want to grant a user the rights to this role, all I have to do is add the user to this group. At the top of the tree we have the evazstore.xml. This is a local file that contains the new configuration. If I go to C, Users, EV Service, App Data, Local, Temp, this is where the evazstore XML file is located. These configuration changes must be uploaded to the directory database. So I will exit the Authorization Manager. It asks, do you want to save the authorization store to the directory database? I'll select yes. It notifies me that the changes will take effect when the information is replicated, and I'll select OK. And the file has been uploaded. The Enterprise Vault Administration Console is role aware. That means it adapts to the permissions of the logged on user. If I right-click the directory node and do Show Roles, the logged on user here is the Vault Service account, and the Vault Service account has access to all of the containers in the site. If I click the plus sign next to the site, I can see all of the different targets that are available in this console. Now I will log on with the user in the Exchange Administrator role. I right-click the shortcut, do Run as a different user, and log in. Add the password and select OK. The console on the right is logged in as the Vault Service account. If I right-click and do Show Roles in the console on the left, this user is logged in as an Exchange administrator, and here are the list of permissions that this user has as the Exchange administrator. Because the interface is role-aware, only certain containers will be available to the Exchange administrator user. So under Targets, there is only the Exchange target, where the Vault Service account has the Domino, File Server, SharePoint, and SMT targets as well. Under Policies, the Vault Service account has Exchange, Domino, File, SharePoint, etc., while the Exchange administrator has only Exchange, Search, and IMAP. And the same holds true for the rest of the containers in the environment. If I go to Help on Enterprise Vault, this will open up the online help window. And the Administrator's Guide is available either in Windows Help file format or the PDF. I'll open the PDF and show you the list of predefined administrator roles. Here are the predefined roles. In the left-hand column is the role name, and in the right column is a description of the role. This role also has the permissions granted to the IMAP administrator, the NSF administrator, and the search administrator. You can scroll down. Here's the Exchange administrator, responsible for the day-to-day administration of Exchange server archiving. The Exchange administrator has the permissions of the search administrator and the IMAP administrator. If we scroll down a little bit further, we can see each role's permissions in the administration console. The Domino admin is on the left here. In the middle column, you can see the containers that are available in the administration console. And in the far right column, you can see the actions that are available to this administrator. Underneath, you can see the other roles that are a part of this role. Here's the Exchange admin role. These are the containers that are available to the Exchange admin. And these are the actions that the Exchange admin can perform in the system. And these are the sub-roles that go to make up the Exchange admin role. Okay, let's return to the slides. Here we are back at the roles-based administration slide. The information in these next few slides we looked at while we were on the Enterprise Vault server. We examined the different administrator roles, power administrator, etc. We said the Enterprise Vault console was role-aware, and we compared the difference between the two console windows of users with different roles. We assigned roles and access by creating an Exchange admins group and assigning that role to a particular user and adding it to the Exchange admin role. And we investigated the Show Roles tabs for both users, the Exchange admin as well as the Enterprise Vault user. The last thing we're going to look at in this lesson is the administration console. This will be your main administrative tool in an Enterprise Vault environment. We're going to take a closer look at the administration console. So I'll go back to the server and I'll close and reopen a fresh console window. At the top of the tree is the directory. The configuration information for all the containers below it is in the SQL database. If you lose access to the database, nothing will be visible here. Beneath the directory node, you have the status icon, which shows the status of your environment. If you check the event logs, you will see the same information. Next is the site node. When you highlight the site node in the left pane, common management tasks will be available in the right pane. So if you wanted to create a new Vault Store partition, you could select Create a new Vault Partition Store, go to the Vault Store group, highlight the Vault Store, select OK, and the wizard will walk you through creating a new Vault Store partition. Beneath the site node are the targets: Exchange, Domino, File Servers, etc. Targets hold the items to be archived. Client Access, where you can configure search and IMAP provisioning groups. Policies, for archiving from different targets. Your Enterprise Vault servers, with your services and tasks. Archives, for holding user data, whether those be journal mailboxes or user mailboxes. Vault Store groups and Vault Stores, for managing storage. Indexing, for locating the archived items. Personal Store Management, for migrating PST files. Extensions, for third-party content. And lastly, Enterprise Vault Online, for accessing additional information on Enterprise Vault. You can access Enterprise Vault documentation a couple of different ways. If you go to Help, Help on Enterprise Vault, this opens up the online help, and here you have all of your documentation in Windows CHM format as well as PDF format. You can find the same documentation by going to the File System, your Enterprise Vault directory, Documentation, the Language folder, and here you'll see all of that same documentation. From the Help tab, if you go to Help Topics, you will get specific information on configuring the property settings of the different containers in your environment. This information is also available as context-sensitive help. So if you wanted to manage your service, if you went to Properties, Storage Queue, and selected Help, this will open that same window, and here you can get context-sensitive information for that particular configuration setting. We'll go back to the slides. And we looked at all of this information in the actual server itself. This was an overview of what we will be looking at in the next 21 lessons. We reviewed some basic Enterprise Vault administration tasks and tools, and looked at managing security using role-based access and object permissions. We also examined the main administrative tool, the Enterprise Vault Administration Console. Here are some additional references. This information is available from the Help menu or directly in the Enterprise Vault installation folder. And lastly, you have some URLs with some additional information. Are there any questions on anything we discussed in this lesson?